Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm sorry it took me so long to actually come up with some some new reviews to do for you today. Um, this first that I'm going to review has been out for a while. I happen to be a big fan of the star of the movie, although let's just be honest here. I'm surprised this movie was such a lemon, and I'll elaborate on why I think it was a lemon and what else I thought was wrong with it here in a minute, but this is the only one that I'm going to do that's going to be not on a DVD for the time being. It's this movie here, Dead Man. I checked this out from the local library, and I can see why they sent it to the public library. Put it that way. I wouldn't have paid to watch this movie. This movie was released in 1995. And of course it stars Johnny Depp in it. This film was written by Jim Jarmusch, and it was directed by him too. And I can tell you that, of course, it stars Johnny Depp as the main character, and then Gary Farmer, who was in the first season of Forever Knight as the captain, and then Billy Bob Thornton, Iggy Pop, Crispin Glover, who, if you all have been around, would remember him from the 3 Back to the Futures movies. John Hurt, Michael Wincott, Lance Henriksen, and Robert Mitchum in his final role. This film was dubbed, and I'm reading this from Wikipedia, an acid western by its director. And it includes twisted elements of the western genre from Wikipedia, of course, like I mentioned before. This movie is shot entirely in black and white. And I tell you what, I had a really horrid time getting into the movie. And what's worse is, part of the problem is where this is, obviously, the VHS tape, it would warp, and how VHS tapes would do. And I was sitting there going, and I can't sit here and watch this no more, or I'm going to pull my hair out. What it is, the basic plot line of the movie itself is Johnny Depp's character, known as William Blake, who is an accountant from Cleveland, Ohio, goes to a town of Machine to do a job as a bookkeeper in the town's namesake metalworks. And it's, in the American Old West. Well, what happens is while he's on his way there, a fireman who's played by Crispin Glover, and it was a dead giveaway it was him, because, even though it was in black and white and I couldn't see the guy real well, I could tell you, if you've seen Back to the Future or Alice in Wonderland, the new one, you couldn't miss Crispin's voice for the life of you. Because it's pretty obvious who it is. And the fireman warns Depp's character against the Enterprise while passenger shoots buffaloes from the train windows. And of course, when Blake gets to where he's headed, he finds that the position has gotten filled already by somebody else, and Depp's character is driven at gunpoint by John Dickinson, Robert Mitchum's character, out of the building by gunpoint. And of course, Mili Avital, who I did a movie review of Arabian Nights with her. And she's Thel Russell, and she's a former prostitute who sells paper flowers. Blake follows Thel home. And then that's when Thel's ex-boyfriend, Charlie, Gabriel Burns, shows up and surprises the both of them and shoots at Blake and Thel and accidentally kills Thel while she was trying to shield Blake with her body. A wounded Blake then shoots and kills Charlie with Thel's gun before climbing out of the window and fleeing Machine on a stolen Pinto horse. Dickinson, who also happens to be Charlie's dad, hires 3 legendary frontier killers to hunt down Blake as the murderer of his son and Thel, although Dickinson seems to care more about getting a horse back. Gary Farmer, who I mentioned, is like the captain of Nick Knight and Forever Knight, is a large American Indian that shows up and is trying to get the bullet out of Blake's chest. The Indian calls himself Nobody, and nobody tells Blake that the bullet is so close to his heart, Blake's heart, that Blake is effectively walking dead. When nobody finds out that Blake's name is William Blake, nobody thinks that Blake is a reincarnation of the poet William Blake. And Depp's character's like, I don't know who in the world you're talking about. But I mean, it just gets more warped. Meanwhile, while they're all talking and everything, the most ferocious member of the bounty hunter posse, Cole Wilson, Lance Hendrickson's character, kills and eats his comrades and continues the hunt alone. Blake and Nobody travel west, of course, leaving a trail of dead and finding warning posters announcing higher and higher bounties for Blake's death or capture. Nobody then sends Blake into a camp of psychotic fur trappers who Nobody and Blake kill. Blake learns that Nobody's past, marked by both Native American and white racism, which includes Nobody's abduction to Europe as a model savage and subsequent return to America. Blake gets left by Nobody when Nobody decides that Blake needs to undergo a vision quest. It's just totally just nuts. That was about as far as I get, where the dead fawn was accidentally killed by the pursuers. Because that's when the video started warping up. But what ends up happening is a bigoted missionary played by Alfred Molina, finds and IDs Blake. And Molina's character tries to kill Blake, resulting in a shootout. Blake, of course, gets shot a second time, and he gets worse. Nobody takes Blake down the river to Macaw village, and Nobody convinces the tribe to give him a canoe for Blake's ship burial. And what happens is Blake trudges deliriously through the village before collapsing from his injuries. When Blake awakes, he's in a canoe on the beach wearing Native American funeral dress. Nobody tells Blake bye, and Nobody pushes Blake into the sea. As Blake floats away, Blake spots Cole sneaking up on Nobody, but Blake's too weak to cry out and can only watch as Nobody and Cole shoot and kill each other. As Blake gazes up at the clouds for the last time, Blake dies and his canoe drifts on out to sea. Like I mentioned, this is a warped up movie. And it's just, you can watch it, but it's totally in black and white. And, I have a very difficult time sitting through it, because it's like, for the first, I'd say 10, 15 minutes of the movie, nobody talks, Anyway, you can watch this. This is, Dead Man. But, be prepared to, be like, okay, and the point of this movie is what? It made zero sense to me. It was okay, though. I just happened to want to see it because Johnny Depp was in it. But hang on, guys. I have some more movie reviews to do, and I'll get right back with you, okay?